What's up, all my movie-loving maniacs? It's your boy Thankful B of the Lassiter Factor, and recently I ranked every Madea movie in honor of Medea's Destination Wedding, which was released on Netflix last weekend. But then I realized after Straw, another recent Tyler Perry film, came out on Netflix, I never took a moment to rank all the non-Madea Tyler Perry movies, and that's what I'm here to do today. I'm going to rank all 17 non-Madea Tyler Perry films from the worst to the best. Now, I will say this ranking was a little bit challenging because, at least with the Madea movies, you know what you're getting. At least with all the movies that don't feature Madea, you never know what you're going to get. You're either going to get something that's surprisingly good, something that's at best decent, or you're going to get something that's complete, utter dog shit. And to be clear, I am ranking Tyler Perry productions that don't feature Madea, so which means he's got to either wrote or direct the movie. I'm not including the movies that he didn't do any of those things, so which means you're not going to see Gone Girl or Alex Cross or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows, which you probably forgot he was even in that movie, did you? Yeah, he played Baxter Stockman in that movie. But enough of me rambling, let's get into it. Coming in dead last is A Fall from Grace, which was the first movie he ever released on Netflix, and as far as I'm concerned, probably will always be the worst film he has ever made. But to me, it's the worst, not just from a script and acting standpoint, but from a production standpoint. And we all remember when this movie came out, everybody took screenshots of, boom mics being in the shot, obvious visual effects. The judge literally reading the script off of his desk and extras drinking nothing but air out of a cup. To me, this was a new low for Tyler Perry, but hey, at least it gave us this memorable line. Ashtray, bitch! At number 16 is Nobody's Fool, which is, to me, the most unfunny and annoying movie that Tyler Perry has ever made. And that's mainly because of Tiffany Haddish, in which she made this movie a year after Girls Trip, which is a funny movie in its own right, and it came out around the time when Tiffany Haddish, she was really starting to blow up. But it feels like here Tyler Perry just let her loose and ad-lib, which was the wrong thing to do here because she was the most annoying thing in this movie. At number 16 is Mea Culpa. At number 15 is Mea Culpa, which is an erotic thriller that was a complete waste of the talent in this movie, from Kelly Rowland, homeboy from Moonlight, I should say. By the time this movie was over, I just felt nothing. I mean, it was fun to watch with my friends at first, but yeah, I felt nothing after watching this movie. At number 14 is Divorce in the Black, which to me is so bad it's good, but still bad. We all remember this movie. It blew up on Twitter, Instagram, Tik Tok. I mean, the one good thing I can say about this movie is there is a scene where Megan Good's father, he's talking to her about I taught you, I try to set an example of what a good man should be and how you end up with an ain't shit nigga like that. Basically, it was a scene that I feel like all the women of today needed to hear. I thought it was a well-executed scene, and Tyler Perry's heart was in the right place when he wrote that scene. But everything else around this movie, the script was bad, the acting was horrible. It had one of the most unintentionally hilarious funeral scenes I've ever seen in a movie. But hey, at least this movie gave me my favorite unintentionally funny line from a movie. And it's when Corey Hardwick says, "Do you want to lose your job, bitch?" At 13 is Duplicity, which is another recent Tyler Perry movie. This is one of those movies that I felt, had pure intentions, but the execution just wasn't there, and the movie was just predictable at times. Now, everything that I just mentioned right now is all one tier that I like to call Who Wrote This Shit? These next two movies I like to call the Take It or Leave It tier. Coming in at number 12 is Single Moms Club. Now, some of these movies, I'll admit, I have not seen in a long time, but Single Moms Club is one of those movies I have not seen in a long time, and I remember it was okay at best, but overall I just never had any desire to go back and rewatch this, not even after its 10th anniversary last year. I thought the cast was solid and the concept of the movie was solid, but just the execution just wasn't as strong as it could have been. At number 11 is Straw, which, yet again, is another recent Tyler Perry production that was released on Netflix. I thought the performances were solid at best. I mean, this movie is basically John Q. Hell, an alternate title for this movie could have been called, I forgot Taraji's name in this movie, but it could have been called Name in the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. And I'll admit, this movie kept me on the edge of my seat as I was watching, but it was just hard to watch at times. I do recognize the flaws of this movie, and I do recognize how people kind of like this movie. This movie did kind of blow up for a few weeks, and I even talked to my older sister who has 4 kids, and she told me she could connect with this movie. So, hey, if you can connect with this movie, hey, more power to you, and I'm glad you can find some enjoyment or connect with this movie. But for me, I just put this in the take it or leave it. Now, the next category of movies I like to call the so bad it's good tier. And coming in at number 10 is Temptation, Confessions of a Marriage Counselor. Now, let me say, I do think the play version of this movie is better. The movie was just, I mean, the movie is laughable at best, and it is fun to watch and revisit sometimes, and especially watching clips out of context. It did have an ending that does kind of fuck you up a little bit, but overall, this definitely isn't Tyler Perry's best. At number 9 is Acrimony, which I think is a really good movie, but at the same time, I recognize the flaws. And to me, this movie is definitely one of those movies that will definitely stress you out from a financial level. And if you've seen this movie, you know what I'm talking about. But the one saving grace about this movie is the twist of this movie. You know what I'm talking about. And it kind of changes your perception of the whole movie and how the rest of the movie plays out. In fact, I had a movie night with some co-workers. He still didn't like this movie. He asked me multiple times, why are we watching this movie? Overall, yeah, this is one of those movies that also gets by on people making dumb decisions. This next category is the tier I like to call actually pretty decent. Coming in at number 8 is Good Deeds, which is another Tyler Perry production that I'll admit I have not seen in a long time, but I do remember liking it when it first came out. It was, I think, the first starring role for Tyler Perry where he actually had to carry the film, but overall, you've seen this movie before. You've seen this plot before and done different ways. Number 7 is Why Did I Get Married To, which is a sequel to the first film, and I actually like this movie, but overall this movie really doesn't go nowhere, but it did have one of my favorite theater experiences of all time, particularly when it comes to the end. Multiple laughs and, yeah, if you've seen this movie, you know what I'm talking about. But what I like about this movie is how it builds off of the first film in which it progresses the relationships, either for better or worse. No pun intended, seeing how this franchise got a spin-off TV show. At number 6 is Daddy's Little Girls, which I think is one of his more better films. It is one of his earlier films and is one of those movies that I think has pure intentions. We actually get to see a father trying to do what he can to take care of his little girls, unlike the baby mama from hell in this movie. This was one of Tyler Perry's first films that's not based on a play, and I think this was a valiant effort that more people should definitely check out and appreciate. And now we enter the experimental tier. And coming in at number 5 is For Color Girls, that some people like it, some people appreciate it, some people think it's so bad it's good, and understandable why. I understand the flaws of this movie, but I've always admired this movie for how ambitious it is, especially for Tyler Perry and a solid cast here too. Plus, this is one of those movies that made people hate Michael Ealy, if you know what I'm talking about. Coming in at number 4 is another relatively recent Tyler Perry production, and that's the 6888, in which Tyler Perry tries to tackle a war movie, but it's not necessarily a war movie. It's just about a bunch of women in the army trying to get letters out to the families of all the fallen soldiers, and I think it is definitely one of his better films. It's an uplifting film, and it's the first movie that got Tyler Perry an Oscar nomination, albeit for Best Original Song. But this is definitely one that I definitely recommend people watch. It's a lot better than it had any right to be. At number 3 is another Tyler Perry movie that was a lot better than it had any right to be, and that is A Jasmine's Blues. It is on Netflix. If you have not seen this, I highly recommend it. This is one of those movies that Tyler Perry had written for a long time, and he had a lot of time to perfect it, and it's a lot better. Trust me, check this out. And it's also the ending that will also fuck you up. Now, these last 2 films that I have yet to mention are not just my favorite Tyler Perry films, but also, in my opinion, his best films. Coming in at number 2 is Why Did I Get Married, which is a lot of people's favorite film, and rightfully so. It's just fun watching all these couples navigate their relationships, and also one of my favorite theater experiences of all time. It's also fun watching clips of these movies out of context, but even watching as a full package, it is worth it. At number 2 is The Family That Prays. To me, in my opinion, this is Tyler Perry's magnum opus right here, if he has a magnum opus. Yeah, I think this is one of Tyler Perry's better written films right here, and solid performances all around. Another one with great scenes to watch out of context, but also as a full package, is also fun to experience. I think it was this movie where Tyler Perry really found his niche within soap opera storytelling. But that's it for the day. Here's a quick recap of my ranking. You can find it on Letterboxd at Lassiter Factor. And tell me, do you agree with this list? Do you disagree? And how would you rank all the Tyler Perry movies that don't feature Madea? Let me know in the comments section below. This is your boy, Thankful B of the Lassiter Factor. Stay safe, wash your hands, peace.